Well, does the Justice Society, one of my favorite superhero teams, finally get their due in animation? Stick around and I'll share my thoughts. I'm Paeter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is my uncut review of Justice Society World War II. Finally got around to seeing this animated DC movie. The Justice Society of America, this is the synopsis on IMDb. The Justice Society of America, a group of heroes aiding the Allies in World War II, acquire an ally from the future who sends them on an adventure that changes history. Okay, I think this is an original story, just talking about what the nuts and bolts of what this experience basically is. I think it's an original story, but it feels like a rushed adaptation that left some valuable things on the cutting room floor, namely character development in favor of cramming in more characters, seemingly. Now, there's just a minor spoiler that Barry Allen, the Flash, modern-day Barry Allen, is kind of the central character, and he travels back in time to World War II, and it happens in a way that feels very, I don't know, weird, and I wanted it to be more dramatic and impactful. There's a lot of different moments in this that I wanted to be more intense and dramatic and impactful, and it's not that they didn't have the big flashy explosions and stuff to do that, it's that they didn't give weight and effort to they didn't put their efforts toward creating those kinds of moments. You could do that by slowing things down, having dramatic music and slowing down some moments a little bit and indicating, okay, this is really heavy stuff. And they did a little bit of that. But I think the main thing that's missing is the character development, exploring who these characters are, what motivates them, and presenting kind of arcs that we can relate to and get alongside them with, and so, Barry Allen also, here's the minor spoiler, doesn't merely travel in time, but actually to an alternate timeline, one in which even some present-day superheroes like Wonder Woman are part of this World War II setting, much like their actual publishing history. And so they do that, and so we're not just getting like a story of these old World War II characters, we're also getting a story about like, oh hey, here's some modern DC characters too that you didn't think you'd see, and it's this alternate timeline and they're different. And so it's like, oh look, Spock's evil and has a goatee, or whatever, or what the gimmick is, what's different about them here, and if you're into that kind of story, then you might like this, but for me, I want to focus on what is true of these characters that maybe we don't normally spend time thinking about and exploring. Instead of saying, okay, now it's, and he's not in the movie, but now it's Green Lantern except his ring is red, or whatever. So anyway, I would have preferred a stricter focus on the characters that are exclusive to the World War II setting, the ones that we typically think of today as the Justice Society characters, to give them a better introduction. I think this is the first animated movie that's focused really on the Justice Society, that has their title, has their team name in the title, and so I would have liked a better introduction and exploration of the motives and personalities of these World War II Justice Society members. As it is, we have a few character moments that are intended, I think, to be moving that mostly weren't to me because they weren't earned by prior development of characters. In a big weighty moment, one character would say to another, like, remember how you really cared about this? Well, da-da-da-da-da, now in these your last moments, I've learned this moral lesson from you because, and it was just like, it felt like they were having to expositionally call back. Remember this brief thing we did about character development for this character earlier? Now this is the dramatic culmination of that, and it connected with me emotionally about as much as it would have if I would have just said that, as part of the script. But, there's plenty of action and other appeal based on discovering how characters are different in this timeline, but I really lost interest in it all by halfway through and only finished it, honestly, for review purposes. As far as the voice performances, the cast, it all felt very solid to me and appropriately cast. There were no voices that felt like, ooh, that doesn't make sense for that character, The voice performance for Wonder Woman was a minor standout, I suppose, but only because of the choice to give her some kind of a European or vaguely Middle Eastern accent, which I appreciated as a minor detail. I think that kind of take on Wonder Woman is cool given her origins. As far as the visuals go, animation here I think is the same solid quality that I've come to expect from DC animated movies, but it's really been a long time since I felt like they were setting the bar in the world of animated movies or even direct-to-video animated movies. There was a time where I was like, dang, man, DC is where it's at for animated geek movies. You know, maybe not like Disney levels of cell animation, although they did hang on to cell animation long after Disney moved on to just doing 3D computer stuff. So I think there was a window there where it's like they were kind of establishing the bar, or at least reminding us of what the high quality standard is for animated movies that are made with, you know, that are cell animated, you know. And I just feel like they hit that quality mark at some point 5+ years ago and just haven't been advancing it noticeably, to me anyway, any further. The art style also uses heavy black outlining associated with classic cartoons that in some ways, you know, felt fitting, I think, to the setting of this World War II story, but they used this artistic approach in the modern day scenes as well, where it felt weird and out of place. If it was chosen because of the World War II setting, I would have preferred that they only use it there, similar to how in the classic Wizard of Oz movie, we only see color when Dorothy was in Oz, and we're in black and white when she is in, you know, the regular world. And so I think that could have been this cool artistic choice that you know, would have gone in the direction of you know, as I mentioned earlier, reminding us of what kind of cool stuff can be done with cell animation. But you know, I also understand that would have been more expensive, significantly more expensive, to use two significantly different art styles for the movie. In any case, the stylistic benefit of using that thick-lined, classic-feeling style gives diminishing returns for me. I would rather they just went for a great modern style of animation art like they were doing, you know, a couple years ago when they were still adapting a lot of New 52 stuff. I felt like that art style was cool and modern and detailed and did what it needed to do. And so, you know, I think my aesthetic preferences would lean toward that. As far as themes, is there anything of moral, philosophical, or spiritual significance going on in the themes of this thing that might trigger some worthwhile thought or conversation? The most intended theme seems to be a message to live life while you have the chance, specifically live relationally while you have the chance, because tomorrow your life may be gone. And I can get on board with that. As Christians, we do set our hope on life in God's eternal kingdom, and so we shouldn't embrace life now in the sense of hedonistically just consuming all the pleasure we possibly can while we can. But there is great significance to the finite time that we spend in this world, in these mortal bodies, and we don't want to miss embracing the kind of life, the kinds of relationships that God has made us for in this era of humanity. Now, because of my emotional detachment from the experience, the movie doesn't naturally lead me to contemplate living intentionally and relationally now. But I do think it's a good message to think about, and heading into a new year is a good time to think about it. All right, now I have no idea what your tastes are in animated movies, but if I were a time traveler, I'd go back in time and say, I should do something different. I'd do some kind of like super speed, whatever. Paeter, skip this one. Go back and watch Justice League: The New Frontier again. It does similar things, playing with retro versions of well-known DC characters. It's been a long time, and so your memories of that movie are fuzzy, but you remember enjoying it, despite not really connecting with the source material as much. So it's probably worth revisiting instead of Justice Society World War II, which is just going to feel rushed and lacking the elements of character and drama that are really important to your enjoyment of a fiction experience. This one's rated PG-13 for violence and some bloody images, and those are all my thoughts for now on Justice Society World War II. I would love to get your thoughts and reactions in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, and click that bell to stay connected. I want to thank the Spirit Blade Insiders for making this review possible. For info about the benefits of joining, go to patreon.com/spiritbladeproductions. Then I hope you'll check out our podcast and stay connected to all CGC content over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We've got a ton going on here at Spirit Blade Productions and Christian Geek Central, including our in-depth Bible study for geeks, movie, game, and other entertainment reviews or commentary, live streams, Christian geek news, original audio dramas, and tons more. And on top of all that, you can become a Spirit Blade insider with an influential voice and get access to exclusive content and rewards. It's your involvement as a patron that will keep all of this going and growing, so I want to thank you for your consideration in that. For more information, please check out our Patreon page through the link below at patreon.com/spiritbladeproductions. Thanks for listening.